Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Steve McCauley coming with another video. Today I got some more VGC 17 battles here on the battle spot. And since it is the new year, I want to say Happy New Year's to all you guys. I hope you guys had a good 2016. I hope you have a better 2017. If you guys set some goals, some New Year's resolutions, I hope you can make them and everything. So, I'm not going to talk much about that, but I hope you guys had a nice New Year's Eve, a nice New Year's, and have a good year in general. So we're still going at it with the Torkoal Trick Room team. So we're going to get into this first battle. My opponent had a team of Salamence, Tapu Lele, Politoed, Mudsdale, Oranguru, and Xurkitree. So here I was a little concerned because with this Sun team, this is the first Rain team I've gone up against. The Mudsdale is very intimidating as well, since it's going to do a number to my Torkoal. So the Mudsdale is most likely going to be Assault Vest, so it's going to be really bulky in general. So I didn't know how well this team would work against a Rain team. So here, Tapu Bulu is going to be a staple to be able to deal with the Politoed and the Mudsdale. And so it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. So let's go ahead and get started. That's a cool shirt. I bought that shirt. For those of you who don't know, if you go to, I don't remember exactly where it is, but the Team Skull place, if you remember the Pokemon Center there, you had to pay to use it. If you go back there after you beat the game, the people will sell you that shirt. So I led with Drumpa Oranguru because I was like, well, if he does lead with the Politoed, I want to be able to switch in my Torkoal to change the weather. But he actually just goes for a Tapu Lele Salamence lead, which is a little complicated for me because there's not much my Drumpa can do. Like, a Hyper Voice will do lots of damage, but a Moonblast, Draco Meteor, or Dragon Pulse will floor my Drumpa. So I actually bring in Tapu Bulu here to change the terrain, because I was thinking maybe he'd go for the Psychic Z move, or he'd just go for a Psychic, which would get the stab, and he actually goes for Fire Blast into the Oranguru slot, and the Moonblast also into that slot. So he was most likely predicting a Trick Room there, maybe a Protect Trick Room, but I just wanted to switch him out just to get the terrain change and everything. So he actually ends up bringing in his Politoed here. He switches out the Tapu Lele. I'm not exactly, well, maybe because there wasn't much that Tapu Lele could have done offensively to the Pokemon I had out. And he actually goes for Protect and Salamence, most likely scouting out what I wanted to do. And here, I went for the Wood Hammer into the Tapu Lele slot just to pick up the knockout. So it's actually just going to be a free knockout into the Politoed. I was debating a Wood Hammer or a Wood Hammer into the Tapu Lele or a Nature's Madness into Salamence. But in the end, I decided with Salamence, it's not going to be too big of a threat. Once I get Trick Room up, what the big threat could be is the Tapu Lele, which will actually deal some damage. So we're going to see his last Pokemon is Mudsdale, which is a very slow Pokemon. Despite being a horse, which are supposed to be fast, this one is very slow. So he's going to switch out Salamence into the Tapu Lele to switch up the terrain, because he knows that I will get my grass moves will be boosted. So he goes for a Heavy Slam. I actually didn't even consider the Heavy Slam or a possible Heavy Slam. I knew it got it. I've seen people use Heavy Slam on their Mudsdales. I just haven't faced off against one. So I actually go for Psychic into the Salamence, saying if it does have a Focus Sash, I want to break it. So you see it actually does quite a bit of damage, just because of the Psychic terrain. So I bring in Drumpa here. My base speed and Mudsdale's base speed is the exact same. So at this point, I'm like, as long as he's not minimum speed, then I'll go first. And I do go first. I don't know if it was a speed tie or what, but he goes for the Heavy Slam into the Oranguru. I go for Hyper Voice Instruct, just incredibly powerful. So I was thinking hopefully this would pick up the knockout onto Mudsdale, but depending on the roll, you're gonna see it is gonna hold on. So I didn't know what the probability was of that picking up the double knockout. But I do pick up the knockout on Tapu Lele, which is really nice. So at this point, I'm pretty much set because I have Torkoal in the back, which is even slower. So I will be able to pick up the knockout on Mudsdale. Now I just got to deal with this Salamence, because there's not much Salamence is going to be able to do to my Torkoal, except for maybe a Draco Meteor or a Dragon Pulse. But at the same time, I don't have much that I have Hidden Power Ice, but I just want to be 100% sure. So I go for Hyper Voice. There's no need to go for a Draco Meteor because Hyper Voice will pick up with the knockout as well. So Mudsdale is going to go down. A big threat to my Torkoal taken away. And I went for Instruct, like I said, just because a double Hyper Voice at this point will pick up the knockout onto the Salamence, even if it is Focus Sash. But he did go for Protect. Here, I was thinking about styling with Draco Meteor. I was like, yeah, because even if I miss, it's not that big of a deal. I have Torkoal in the back, which can Hidden Power Ice twice with Instruct. But no Focus Sash. There's just going to be a knockout onto the Salamence. So, pretty easy game, I guess you could call it. I guess you could also say he made a bad switch into the Politoed from the Tapu Lele. I mean, there wasn't... with what he had in the back, there wasn't much of something he could have switched in anyways. Maybe he was just trying to sacrifice. Because I guess it would have been a better switch. The Tapu Lele is much more important than the Politoed. He actually didn't even know that I brought the Torkoal. I never showed it. So I might have just thrown that in there just to sack it off. But there's just nothing he could do against my Tapu Bulu. Even with the other Pokemon he had, with the Oranguru and the Xurkitree. The Oranguru... well, I mean, the Xurkitree could have just by pure damage, but there wasn't much on his team that could have stopped my Tapu Bulu at all. So, Tapu Bulu coming through big time right there. Torkoal didn't even have to hit the field. And then the typical Drampa Oranguru Instruct. Drampa's incredibly powerful. It's just like in last VGC 16, when you'd have Hyper Voice with Mega Gardevoir and with Mega Salamence. It's just Hyper Voice is such a good move, and it got Aerialate and Pixelate and all that stuff, which boosted it. And Drampa gets it with Stab, so giving him that normal typing, really helping him out in the battles. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. Another interesting team of my opponent. He had a team of Arcanine, Tapu Koko, Garchomp, Gastrodon, Gigalith, and Metagross. So he actually had the Gigalith as well. And I was thinking, okay, this could be another weather matchup for me with the sand. But here, my Tapu Bulu does pretty well against this team. It's going to do really well against that Gastrodon. It's going to easily floor it. If he brought the Gigalith, I would have floored it as well. I was somewhat surprised that he did not bring the Metagross, since it would be able to deal with my Tapu Bulu. But I guess he does have the Arcanine, which could deal with Tapu Bulu pretty well. But I go with the same Pokemon this time as I did last time. There was nothing I needed to nuke with with my Salamence, so there was nothing. And with my Lilligant, I've never brought Lilligant. I didn't. It's not as good as, or it hasn't worked as well as I thought it would. It has Chlorophyll, so it's twice as fast, and it has After You, which would allow theoretically a Pokemon of mine to go first, and also has Sleep Powder, but it just hasn't worked as well in the situations I've hoped it would. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this battle. Feeling pretty confident in my matchup. I was going to say my team, my matchup, whatever. I was, again, in my matchup with my team. So he leads with Arcanine Tapu Koko, and I go with Oranguru Torkoal. So, again, not a favorable lead by me, but at the same time, at this point, Torkoal's kind of just bait. I almost always lead Oranguru, and he gets an Intimidate off. That's not going to affect me whatsoever. So, see, if I had a ground type move, I could have threatened him immediately. But so at this point, Arcanine's a big problem, because if it has Wild Charge, it's going to get the 50% boost from the train. If it's got a Fire type, it's going to get the 50% boost from the train. So I go in the Tapu Bulu here in case he wanted to go for an Electric type move or the Electric Z move or anything. It's going to lower the damage. We do see a Mega move right here, and it is going to be the with the Tapu Koko. So very familiar. That was on my last team. So we are going to see the Gigavolt Havoc, and I did change the train, which is definitely going to make him deal less damage. I was considering protecting my Oranguru here, but I was like, I don't think I'll need it because I'm going to change the terrain. So it is going to bring me just below 50%. He actually goes straight for Snarl, and Oranguru avoids. And so against Tapu Bulu, it's not good. The Snarl doesn't matter, and Oranguru missed or dodged. So absolutely perfect. I get my Trick Room up against these two very, very fast Pokemon. So I feel like I'm in a good position here. but at the same time, there's not much with the 2 Pokemon I have out. There's not much damage I can dish out to him, nor with the Pokemon I have in the back, is there much damage I can dish out. So he protects Tapu Koko here. When I saw that, I was like, that's an interesting play, just because there's not much I can threaten him with. So here I make a mistake with Instruct. I'm still kind of wearing with Instruct. So, and I of course I missed the Stone Edge. So who knows if I would have picked up the knockout. Well, if both Stone Edges connected, I'm pretty sure I would have picked up the knockout. And it's not like a Ringu would have done much anyway. I could have switched it out into Torkoal if I was thinking he was going to go for a Heat Wave or some sort of Fire type move. So here's Arcanine's going to protect. And I was like, well, at this point, Arcanine's not going to do too much to either of my Pokemon. So I just go for an Eruption. So I'm full health, so it's going to do lots of damage to Tapu Koko. It's going to pick up the knockout upright. And I went for the Horn Leech into the Tapu Koko slot in case he was switched in the Gastrodon or the Gigalith. So, because at this point, Tapu Bulu isn't as important, especially now that he brings in now that he brings in the Gastrodon. I'm like, okay, very, very important. So here he actually switches out the Arcanine into Garchomp, and it was interesting to me. But then, because I was like, well, I was thinking he was going to protect the Gastrodon, so like I knew his Gastrodon was going to be slower than my Tapu Bulu, and I was like, okay, that's respectful damage. I went for Stone Edge into the Arcanine slot because I was like, well, he can't protect this next turn. And I was thinking the Gastrodon was going to protect because there's no reason, or there's no way you just bring in the Gastrodon and just let it sit there. But he probably read me right there. This Gastrodon could also be Assault Vest, but with the Ice Beam damage, I'm like, okay, well, that's perfect because another Ice Beam will not knock me out. So with Torkoal, I go for a Hidden Power Ice into Garchomp, and that is going to picks up the knockout on his remaining health. So here I'm like, okay, well, as long as I can, if I needed to get rid of this Gastrodon, if Tapu Bulu can't get rid of this Gastrodon, it's over. So we do hang on, no crit, no freeze. Well, I guess he can't freeze because the sun's up, but no crit, and I get the Horn Leech off, and that is going to restore all my, well, not all of it. Gastrodon has quite a bit of health, but it's going to put me back very, very comfortably. So now we got a 3v1, but at the same time, there's not much, like besides Stone Edge, there's nothing I can really hit this Arcanine with. And the sun, everything's going to disappear now. The sun goes away, the terrain goes away, Trick Room expires. So my opponent, like, I don't know how he would win it either, because there's not much he could do to my Torkoal, because this is a support Arcanine. So now my Tapu Bulu's at -2. And I protect here. Like, if he knocks out my Tapu Bulu, I'm okay with that. That's kind of what I want. Just going to be a free switch for me, since not too much Tapu Bulu is going to do. I have Drompa in the back, which can hit this thing with Hyper Voice and Draco Meteor and stuff. But I go for a Nature's Madness here, because I'm just like, well, if I can get up below 50%, another Stone Edge might do the trick, or a Draco Meteor might do the trick. We do see the leftovers. So definitely a very stall support Arcanine, and he ends up surrendering because he realizes it's over. So not too bad of a battle, in my opinion. Not too bad. I guess I did get kind of lucky that Tapu Bulu survived, because I don't know how else. I could have dealt with the Gastrodon with my Drompa, because there's not much he would have been able to do to my Drompa either. Yes, he had Ice Beam, but Gastrodon is not known for being the most offensive Pokemon. So I don't know how much that affected things. I mean, I did miss Stone Edge on the Arcanine and stuff. He made some decent switches and predictions and stuff, but freaking Tapu Bulu coming up big that time. So I feel like one thing that I'm really missing on this team is a decent lead. A lot of times I send out, it's either going to be a Ringaroo Drompa or a Ringaroo Torkoal, and I end up switching Drompa or Torkoal out into something else. So, but like I also said, I don't really have anything to hit fire types with. I don't have anything to hit Tapu Koko with specifically, or any electric types. So something like a Garchomp, well, not like a Garchomp, some sort of ground type Pokemon would be nice, or a Pokemon with ground type moves, or a ground type move. So I might be making that kind of some sort of switch like that, mainly with the Lilligant, since I haven't even brought Lilligant because it's not as good as I would have thought it would have been. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Still going strong with this team. I really like it. There's a lot of offense with this team. So I've been working. Well, I just like sending out my distractions because a lot of time people see a Wrangler and they're like, oh, he's going to go for Trick Room. But if I put up something juicy like a Torkoal or a Drompa at the beginning, they're like, oh, I'm going to take that thing out. So that's pretty much it. It's my strategy. So if you guys ever battle me, you ever see me, you know what I'm going to be doing. But that's pretty much it. If you guys get any suggestions for a 6th Pokemon for me that I can swap out for Lilligant to deal with these, it could be a water type Pokemon, it could be anything. Just any suggestions you got for me to switch out for Lilligant to be able to help out with something like Tapu Koko or Arcanine or Tapu Lele. Feel free to let me know. And if you got any suggestions for me in general, go ahead and let me know. If you want to battle me, I'm down for singles, for doubles, for VGC, for whatever. So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have a good day. Hope you guys had a good New Year's Eve, good New Year's Day, and a good 2017. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.